the necessary raw nutrients that they can keep a cell alive for over 30 times the normal length of the cell. That equates, if you could live to be 120, that equates to you living for 3,600 years. Maybe it's not forever. It's pretty good, though. The dermatologists tell us that when we heat fats, the essential fatty acids that are inherent in foods are damaged in such a way as to prohibit the healthy development of our skin. That essential fatty acids can only be gotten from raw foods. Does science support raw foods? The developmental anatomists tell us that a raw food diet supplies all of the nutrients essential for the development of a fetus for the first 2 months of life. That's as far as developmental anatomists even look. The people who study ecology tell us fruit and vegetable production, you can feed 100 times people compared to feeding one person on cow. That it takes a 52nd as much land. 1/52nd as much land. That we can feed 2.5 times as many people on a raw fruit and vegetable diet as we can on a grain-based diet. I'm not saying the grain-based diet is not better than McDonald's, but we can do better. There's better, better, and best. Personally, I've never found second class the way I want it to go. You buy a cheap tool, it breaks. I'm not going to treat my body. I only get one. I'm not going to treat it like a cheap tool. I want to go first class. Embryology, these people tell us straightforward that raw fruits and vegetables supply, I want to get it right, abundant vitamins, minerals, coenzymes, enzymes, antioxidants, and phytonutrients, and sufficient fat, protein, carbohydrates, and water to perfectly support a fetus. What are our nutritional needs? Well, we have very defined nutritional needs. We know what they are. It's easy to tell what they are. All we have to do is look at the nutritional makeup of mother's milk. If we look at the nutritional makeup of mother's milk, we know two things. It supplies a baby with everything it needs, and if we were being fed on it would supply us with more protein than we need, because we're not growing like a baby, and protein is for growth. I'm probably the only person in the room, since we all have unique life experiences, to have been asked, so, where do you get your protein? Do you know that romaine lettuce has twice the protein per calorie of steak? I'm sorry. 2.1. Romaine lettuce has 2.1 times as much protein, calorie for calorie, as steak. Do you know that broccoli has higher protein, calorie for calorie, than that? I put a chart in one of my books that shows you calorie for calorie. What's in fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, grains and meats, and da-da-da-da. Bite for bite, romaine lettuce comes out pretty poor. Not a lot of calories in it, but calorie for calorie, it excels. And so do all other foods. Calorie for calorie, fruits provide us with almost the exact same amount of protein as mother's milk. Where do I get my protein, people ask me. I go, fruit. It's not a problem, I get it from fruit. Where does the cow get theirs? Where does the gorilla get theirs? I know you've all figured this out. Cancers of the ovaries, testes, breast, thyroid, pituitary, adrenals, pineal, parathyroids, pancreas, and other endocrine tissues, so say endocrinologists, have all been linked to the consumption of cooked foods. Raw foods are used to treat people with cancer. This isn't rocket scientist stuff. The study of disease is called epidemiology, and there are people who are epidemiologists. And they say that food poisoning almost always results from the consumption of cooked food. Well, why? Because if it's raw food and it's gone bad, you can tell before you eat it. But cooking allows us to hide bad food, and then you can eat it without ever knowing. The spread of disease is called etiology. And etiologists say that the decay that happens in cooked foods can be hidden in a way that it cannot be hidden in raw foods. And so our sense of smell, vision, and touch can actually stop the spread of disease. So say etiologists. The people who study genetics, as I've already mentioned, tell us that all the creatures that eat predominantly fruits and vegetables that are classed as anthropoid primates, monkeys without tails, share a huge proportion of genetic material between us and them. We're anatomically and physiologically like them. We thrive on the same foods as them. The gerontologists study long life. And they say that their recommendations for older people includes the addition of more raw fruits and vegetables. Gosh, folks, how many people have to tell us eat more raw fruits and vegetables? I understand that I'm so able to step on people's toes. I can say, therefore, don't eat other foods at all, to the exclusion. And that the gerontologists have to be very careful because they're funded by the very people whose toes they're getting close to. The milk people are up in arms because there is a suggestion being made that milk be labeled with the idea that there are certain young children who may not thrive on cow's milk. And they're getting crazy that could ever be put on a label. Gynecologists, guys relax, have already told us that they find a direct relationship in the reduction of PMS symptoms, less cramping, less blood flow, shorter periods, with the inclusion of an increased percentage of fruits and vegetables in the diet. I won't ask for a show of hands. It doesn't really matter which field of science you want to chart. The hematologists tell us that when they look at red blood cells under a microscope, that the red blood cells of raw foodists look the healthiest. They look picture perfect. I've had people look at my blood, it was a good 15 years ago. Somebody looked at my blood and he said, can I take a picture of your blood? He said, yeah, why? I want to use this as my normal. I've never seen normal before. And when other people come in, I want to be able to compare your blood to theirs so they can see what normal looks like. So I can show them what a crenated cell looks like, what an exploded cell looks like, what a clumping cell looks like, what a rouleau shell looks like, because they've got all that stuff. And those all carry oxygen.